Okay. This is the special 21st episode of Super Geeks. Now, what this means is that we are all old enough to drink. And if anybody wants to crack open a beer, drink a glass of wine, or Michael,
a bottle of wine is about right.
If anybody feels like breaking out the champagne, you're old enough to drink now. We can do this on the show together because it's legal now. Just letting you guys know. So my name is George, and my Twitter is Chooch99A. And Anthony, where can we find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Anthony Battles.
All right. Will, what about you?
On Twitter at Intrinsicus, that's Intrinsic with a US on the end.
All right, and returning with us for the third time by request because he's over in Grenada and he's having a good old time, Michael Hinman. Where can people find you?
You can probably find me in a local bar or, wherever alcohol is served.
Alcohol is served here on this show, and I'm going to open up a beer now. I promised myself, since it's the 21st episode, I'm going to treat it like I just turned 21 again, even though I'm 45. There we go. I opened it up. So,
I didn't even hear anything. You're supposed to put it near the mic so we can actually hear the...
Well, the reason why is because I have to hit my control my key in order to speak.
You can't open a beer one-handed?
Too late.
That's a no.
It was a twist off. It was a Corona. It's twist off.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you're not going to hear it. So anyways, thank you for joining us, everybody. And so there's a lot of things that has happened. Well, there's always something going on, but Star Trek is usually the reason why Michael Hinman rejoins us for some subject or another. The last couple of times it's been for reasons for the fan films, the guidelines, Alec Peters, things like that, Axonar. But this time, it's a little bit different. There's news that dropped this morning that pretty much shook up the entire community. And that is that they revealed that apparently, as far as Paramount's concerned, Sulu, a character who's been around since the beginning, has been, I guess we can say, outed as not a big deal, but like his actor that portrays him, George Takei, oh my, Sulu is gay. It's caused a lot of, fan backlash or good things, I guess you could say. How does everybody feel about this? Let me start with our guest, Michael.
Well, I'm definitely good with it. It's a little bit unfortunate because just as we're recording this, the Hollywood Reporter just put out an interview with George Takei where he's actually saying it's unfortunate that they're making Sulu gay.
Yeah, I'm actually reading the same article.
Yeah, he's, because in his brain, it's like, well, Gene Roddenberry envisioned, these characters to be certain ways, and he envisioned Sulu to be heterosexual, but I don't know. I don't think that you can sit back these are fictional characters. Did he, how many people, and I had an issue with the fact that Khan suddenly went from being, like a Puerto Rican or Mexican, I can't remember what Roberto.
Supposed to be an Indian. Supposed to be an Indian.
Ricardo. Yeah, but he's playing an Indian, and then it turned into a British guy, a white British guy playing an Indian.
Yeah.
I mean, these are fictional characters. When John Cho actually took over the role, some people said, well, now Sulu went from being Japanese to Korean, and Takei himself got up and said, well, Sulu's more kind of a Pan-Asian character.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, so if you can start making broad strokes and make changes of characters of that way, then why can't you change some of the backstory? I mean, some of Kirk's backstory changed. I mean, some of these other characters have changed. I mean, it's just, I feel like it's very unfortunate. You think that George Takei would actually be happy that, they're paying homage to him, and they're finally giving us a high-profile gay character in Star Trek. It only took them 50 years to do it.
The thing that I have though is this is the 23rd century. I mean, basically, I would have thought that sexuality, you don't need to announce these things.
You don't.
People can,
Exactly.
you just assume it. And I think that's what George Takei is saying. Look, sexuality at this point is whatever you want to be.
You don't
There's
have to
no,
label
there's
it.
no need to put a label on it.
Exactly.
You just are who you are. And I think that's what. Go ahead, George.
John Barrowman said the same. So in the episode where John Barrowman's Captain Jack was introduced, in the Christopher Eccleston episode, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, the one with the kids with the masks on their head when they go, "Mummy, or are you my mummy?" Anyways, the whole point that the Doctor said to Rose by the 55th century in Doctor Who was, well, people don't put labels on it. They basically like. You are what you are. Your sexuality is like pansexual. It's like you love a person no matter whether they're male, female, alien. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's different. I mean, if George Takei came out and said, okay, you know what? We don't need to be slapping labels on these people because, hey, Kirk, sure, we keep seeing him bedding 2 aliens at a time or whatever, but there's nothing to say they can't be male or anything else, but that's not what he's saying. In fact, if you read this Hollywood Reporter story, he's saying that Gene Roddenberry envisioned Sulu as a heterosexual character. Not that, hey, we shouldn't slap a label on him. He's saying, no, already a label on him, and he's straight.
Well, it was Simon Pegg who came up with this idea. Yeah, to make Sulu gay. He thought it would be a good idea to incorporate it, maybe to pay homage to George Takei. But the way I look at it, George Takei was the original character, and if that's what he says, I'm going to go with that. And again, it's just like what Will said.
Yeah, but you can't...
Hold on. All right? And it's just like what Will was saying before, 23rd, 24th, 25th century. By that time, that should just be normal. Everyone deserves to be loved. And it doesn't matter who you love as long as you get loved. So people shouldn't have to, hey, I'm this or hey, I'm that. That would be like me saying, hey, I'm a black man and I haven't been shot by a cop yet. So, we don't, in the 21st century, everyone should be accepted.
But here's the thing. I mean, and this is kind of going into the same mentality that some of these accent art people, for instance, have, where they think that they own Star Trek because they're a part of it in some way, or Star Trek's a part of them. Just because George Takei did the role of Sulu, own the character of Sulu. It's not his
then why
to
they ask
dictate
his
what
opinion?
happens to Sulu.
Then why did they ask his opinion?
Well, because they were trying to respect the actor, right?
Yeah, I think that they were asking. I think what happened, because I only started reading the stories just as we were going on the air, so I haven't actually read through it. I just scanned through it really quick. But from what I understand, is that probably Simon Pegg called up George Takei, saying, "Hey, look, we're going to do this nice homage to you, great." And then George Takei's like, "What do you mean you bought me this nice new car and these flowers and everything? You should give them to somebody else." I mean, that's kind of what it's not like they were asking for his approval.
Well, I think what happened here is the reason why George said what he said. It was not Gene's vision of the character for Star Trek. See, you got to remember, all this started with Gene Roddenberry. And George Takei is trying to hold his character true to the vision of Gene Roddenberry.
Well, he was beholden to the. He's very loyal. He's part of the original Inner Circle. He's part of the original Inner Circle from back in the day, right? So he's going to have a kind of a mixed conflict between being humbly honored that people are trying in this day and age to kind of give him some respect as an actor, and then try to reflect that on the character. But at the same time, George Takei, this is just my opinion, he was part of that Inner Circle, and his vision of it is a bit different because it goes before all the enlightened. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? Because that's what Star Trek's all about. But he's going in there beforehand and looking at it from a different point of view. He's like, this is different. This is like the Inner Circle, the group that created Star Trek.
Okay, well,
go ahead.
I'm just reading this article, and they have one paragraph in here where, again, they're talking about how he came out. And if this is in the film and they don't actually announce he's gay, they just show him with a male spouse. they call it, that's fine. I mean, that's just okay. He's with somebody. They don't say, "Oh, I am gay," or I mean, it's us putting this label on this character. But if in the film or the books or whatever, they're just having a scene and it's just written and there's nothing else, it's just, normal people getting together, I don't see anything wrong with that. But again, it could be us putting these labels on people that are causing people to be either...
We're still surrounded, but we have that need for labels,
yes.
I think, still. Whereas in the 23rd century, they don't.
But before we kind of drift away from what I was waiting here. But two things to note. Number one, Gene Roddenberry's dead. He died 25 years ago. We don't know, and I'm tired of people speaking for what Gene Roddenberry would have wanted or would not have wanted.
Like George
I mean,
Lucas.
even the only person that would even maybe start thinking a little bit about it would probably be Rod Roddenberry. And even then, I take it with a grain of salt because Rod is not Gene Roddenberry. We don't know how Gene's taste... I mean, Gene went in front of a convention crowd in 1985 or 1986 and made it clear that he was going to introduce a gay character into Star Trek back in the 80s when being gay was still like one of those things that nobody ever talked about, that nobody ever did anything about, that was like this evil thing practically. And how do we know that he wouldn't have continued evolving to the point where he's not afraid. He was never afraid to change characters. He was never afraid to have them evolve. And there's nothing here that establishes, there's nothing that ever established Sulu's sexuality in the canon.
It doesn't.
And
right.
Even with his daughter in Star Trek Generations, there's never a discussion of his wife. There's never a discussion of her mother being his wife or just somebody, or anything like that. I mean, we're applying these traditional family labels onto something, which we're only making the assumption of. Where nowadays, just because somebody has a daughter, when you say, like when Sean Mayer from Firefly, before he came out, he talked about having 2 daughters, and so people just assumed, he must have a girlfriend or a wife. And then he came out as gay. It's like, no, I have a boyfriend, and we have these 2 daughters. I mean, this whole idea that the traditional family is a man, a woman, and 2.5 kids is silly in 19th century, and I don't think that we can keep applying that. And I think it's good that we applied this to a major character. I don't want to introduce some new throwaway character and just make him gay just for the sake of it, and then they throw him away. It's about time that it took 50 freaking years to put a gay character into any type of position in Star Trek. Yes, it needs to be a prominent character.
Well, here's the thing, too. Blood and Fire is a good example. Now, this was an episode that was written for Phase 2. That Star Trek, I think it was Phase 2. The other Phase 2, you know what I mean? The one that was a fan thing that James Crawley was part of. I believe they did that episode. I could be wrong. But somebody did it, and they had the 2 male characters, because it was originally a script.
Yeah, it was Kirk's nephew and his boyfriend.
Yes, but that was a script that was going to be in what was going to be the second Star Trek series with Kirk called Phase 2 before they did the motion picture, which is why they even picked the name Phase 2 when James Crawley did his thing. Michael, you know what I'm talking about, because they were honoring the whole the secondary almost series, but they had a script called Blood and Fire, and it was going to have that was going to be an actual episode. The Next Generation almost did that episode too, because they were during the writer's strike, they were going to they rehashed a lot of episodes from Phase 2. They took a couple of them, and one of them almost was that one. So,
yeah, but I don't think that was from Phase 2, actually. I believe that Blood and Fire actually came from what was supposed to be a TNG episode. I don't believe that was going to be recycled. I believe that was an actual...
TNG took a couple of... I'm not trying to interrupt you, sorry. TNG grabbed a couple of Phase 2... The original
for
Phase
season 2. Yeah, for the second season during the writer's strike in 1988...
Right.
was during the second season of Star Trek: The Next Generation. It wasn't during the first. Blood and Fire because David Gerrold was only a part of the show, maybe right past the pilot episode, and that was it. And part of it was because he had submitted the script. The one that Star Trek New Voyages did is altered, by the way. Let's should say that there was no love scene. There was none of those things in that script, because I've actually read the original script, and I believe, and I never watched the episode, but I saw scenes from it, and I believe that there was a lot of changes made. But but the thing is that, and there was good reason why they couldn't do it. Not good reason, like I'm saying, like, oh, that was justified, but I understood why Paramount, shied away from it. I don't know if there was a contractual obligation or not, but the thing is that Star Trek: The Next Generation was in first-run syndication. They had no control. It's not like it was a new show on CBS where they would be on at 9 o'clock at night on Tuesday night. It could have been any day of the week, during dinner time, during prime time, during, family hours and stuff. And they had backward thinking back then that even if you said the word gay or acknowledged that somebody was gay, that was an adult theme that children, for some reason, couldn't handle seeing a gay person.
I agree. I just think that I remember that the Blood and Fire was the go-to. What's the word I'm looking for? It was an episode that was out there that was passed around, and fan films used it as we discussed, and it was just one of those things. Now, when I say gay, see, we obviously so here's another. I'm gonna kind of bring this up. I don't know how to word it, so if I butcher my way of describing this, I apologize. So there's a difference between, I've noticed, whether studios, shows, everybody portrays, whether they're ready to acknowledge the homosexual aspect of anything, because when Trek did it on DS9 in that episode with Jadzia and that other girl, there's a difference between a lesbian, scene and man kissing, love, and so forth. So I'm wondering, is the issue, because there's been plenty of bisexual or lesbian leaning women on Star Trek. So it's not like the gay, I'm not going to say agenda, I apologize for even leaning that way, but what I'm trying to say is that with women, it seems like they get a pass. Like if you're going to go with homosexuality, if you use women, it seems a lot more like Xena, it seems more like they're willing to let that go than men. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
That's because for the longest time, television and movies and such, and even still to a certain extent today, even though I do think that the demographics are changing, but that, everything was geared toward heterosexual males. And when you gear toward heterosexual males, not saying that every heterosexual male is like this, I'm not painting broad strokes, but in a general sense, that if you ask any old straight guy on the street, you guys straight guys, ask yourselves, what do you think about seeing, lesbians kiss? I mean, you look at straight porn, and there's lesbians in straight porn. And so, so there's that acceptance of it, because for them, it's just like for straight women, it's funny, like when you look at, like Queer as Folk and some of these early shows that were very gay, probably before their time, the biggest audience for Queer as Folk on Showtime, which was a very gay show, it was not gay men. It was not lesbian women. It was actually heterosexual housewives. That was its top audience, because because just like how straight men are broadly into two women kissing, straight women are into two guys kissing. So that's kind of that's one reason why you're seeing that shift in that way.
And Queer as Folk was actually, by the way, created by Russell T Davies, who started up the new Doctor Who back in the day. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's interesting by itself. I don't know. I just find it interesting. So some of you who follow me on Facebook saw, and I talked about this earlier, I was part of a group called, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to shame them, I'm just going to say it, I don't care. I'm kind of really angry about this, so I'm just going to say it. I was part of a group that I joined called Star Trek Universe. It's a Facebook group, and they seemed like a good group, because all my, a lot of good friends, and it was recommended to me, so I joined them. So I'm watching a couple of posts today after the Sulu announcement, and the administrators are they're basically saying in their we're not going to allow what they call deviant posts about anything having to do with homosexuality. So a bunch of people were asking some questions. What do you mean by deviant posts? That's when I that's when I piped up. You guys saw my posts. I got very angry, and they threatened to kick me. And I said, well, I'm on a podcast. I'm going to call you on this. I'm going to screen cap it. And, some of it was a bluff, but some of it was true. I copy and pasted a lot of it to Facebook. And it just outraged me, because this is supposed to be Star Trek. And these people are like, your deviant behavior because you're talking about homosexuality. And one guy had the balls to say, I'm religious, and I shared that with you, Michael. I'm religious, and I still find it offensive personally, but I respect the opinion of the group and Star Trek, something like that. And so I gave him a little bit of a pass. Michael, you didn't agree with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, to me, that the only deviant thing that I know of, that was in that list were religious people. And sorry, I know you're religious, but that to me is a deviance. It's just that the thing is that people, and I just find this so crazy that Star Trek and science fiction in general is supposed to be the place that people can escape to where we don't put labels on things, to where we don't paint in broad strokes, where we're not judging. But I'm sorry, but with my experiences with fandom, which it's been over 2 decades now, on a mass scale, is that it does feel like that's all we do. That's all we're ever doing is judging each other, that we're painting each other with broad strokes, and we're creating these exclusive societies that instead of being inclusive, where, you have to follow this line of thinking or get out. And it's terrible that we see this constantly going on. It's like when the Puritans came to the United States, they were supposedly running from religious persecution. And so what did they do? They came over here, they came to the United States and set up a theocracy. Oh, that was a, brilliant move.
Anybody else have any opinions about this subject? Will?
No, all been said.
All right. I mean, the way I see it is this, that it's like Michael said, the Puritan thing. I think that's an accurate analogy. I was just amazed because I joined this group because it was recommended on Facebook because all these other friends. But at the same time, I think that I had to remind myself there was this one administrator that was the person who was the spokesperson for everything I was seeing happening today. So I had to think, the actual owner of the page, does he agree with this guy? We don't know. Right? He trusted this person to speak for the group. That's the only reason I haven't left the group. I want to hear what he has to say. I want to know whether or not because I've been part of groups where I made people admins, and I don't know whether or not this person's representing me. I might wake up one day and go on Facebook and find out there's all these outraged people because I trusted this one person to administrate it, and he did not represent accurately my opinion. So I want to make sure before I quit this group, or unless they kick me, obviously, whether I should quit it or not, and try to contain my emotions. And it's hard because there's a lot of emotional situations going on when you hit certain subject matters. So, has anybody had any experience with these situations where they've had to restrain their emotions on a Facebook or social media group? I'm sure, Michael, you've had situations like this, and you had to time it as far as when and how to react.
Well, I react. I don't actually hold back, especially in social media. Even back before Facebook, and when people would use aliases, when some of them, on some of these different social media places like message boards and chat rooms and stuff back in the old days, I always used my real name because I don't care. I stand behind what I say, and I'll say what I mean. And so, no, I don't skirt back and hold back emotions. If somebody says something idiotic or stupid, I call it right out on the spot because chances are, they're not important enough for me to remember it past an hour, and if I don't say it right then, I'll forget to say it later.
All right. Well, Michael, we're about to switch subjects to Star Trek Online. I know that you don't play it and you don't know what's going on with that show.
Star Wars. Oh, sorry,
I love. By the way, I love the Old Republic. So because this show is open,
I also play the Old Republic, Michael.
Yeah.
So
See?
you're not alone.
Yeah.
Okay?
See, we should have been talking about that.
Well, what I was gonna say to you was, in the future, I want to have a discussion about Tor. And since I now know that you play it, I know that me and Anthony play it. So does Ross, who's not here tonight. He's visiting his sister. So in the future, even for that subject, I will invite you back so we can talk about Tor. How's that sound?
Sounds good. I'll be here.
All right, my friend. So thank you for joining us, Michael. If you want to stick around, that you're completely welcome to. But I know you did have some stuff to do, and we're going to switch subjects a little bit towards Tor. I mean, sorry, not Tor.
Star Trek Online.
See what happens when I celebrate the 21st episode of Super Geeks? No, I'm just joking. So anyways, yeah. So
blame it on the alcohol.
Yeah, I'll blame it on the alcohol.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, everybody, and I'll be back on soon. I promise.
Also,
right.
I also want you back on to when we discuss Star Trek Beyond, obviously.
Of course, I'll be around for that.
All right, my friend.
We'll see you soon, Michael.
Yep, bye, guys.
See you, Michael.
Have a good one. All right. So, anyways, so switching subjects a little bit. Let's review. Star Trek Online recently reviewed their new expansion, Agents of Yesterday.
They recently released their new expansion, Agents of Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't review it.
They didn't review it. We are going to
gonna
review it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you said Star Trek Online will review it. That's what you said.
Did I say that?
Yes, you said Star Trek Online recently reviewed.
I will not edit this because of one reason. We're not live. Wait, you know what I'm saying? I'm not.
No, I don't. It's the alcohol.
Yes.
I've had half a beer. Anyways, I haven't drank in a couple of days, so forgive me. It's the 21st episode. Give me a break. Anyways, so we have a guy in here in the chat who's been sitting by, kind of, hanging out.
Well, he's AFK right now.
All
But
right.
anyway, just get on with the topic so we can start talking.
We're going to talk about Star Trek Online's Agents of Yesterday, which is an expansion that was released that was hyped up to be the, TOS meets Time Agents meets JJ Universe, Kelvin Timeline. Oh, he's back. So Excalibur, I want to quickly introduce somebody who might pipe up on this, and his name is Excalibur. How you doing?
Hi, not too bad, thanks.
All right. So Excalibur, do you have a social media you would like to tell people they can find you on, or do you want to remain anonymous?
Somewhere in Australia.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
basically it.
How many people from Australia do we have in that situation?
All of them.
Yeah. All right, mate. So, Agents of Yesterday was released not yesterday, but a couple of days
Did
ago.
you say Asians of yesterday?
I did.
Agents.
That's what I said.
No, I said, did you say Asians of yesterday? And you said, yes, I did.
Oh, I thought you said Asians.
Yeah, that's what I said, Asians.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Try talking slower so your pronunciation is more clearer.
Yeah, Agents of Yesterday was released.
Agents of Yesterday.
I think it's the beer talking.
No, that was Batman. You know that. Anyways,
Time-traveling Chinese people.
exactly. So, which is not far from your home state. So anyways, so the Agents of Yesterday was released yesterday. Kind of funny, but it's true. And there's been a lot of variable opinions about this for Star Trek Online. Now, I'm going to start with Anthony, and I know that
You don't have to start with me. Why don't you start with yourself?
well, you're at the top. You're in the alphabetical order.
That's right.
I would
Well-
rather start with you.
Okay. All right. See, I actually didn't like it. And to me, it was a cop-out on Cryptic's part because you got this whole brand new expansion that they're trying to design something around. And so you have to create a brand new tune. See, I've been playing the game since beta back in 2009.
Yeah, me too.
And then it gets released, and I've been playing this game for, going on 7 years. And then now they're telling me I have to create a brand new character.
Well,
I
if you wanna
create
play
this.
that-
All right, hold on.
Sorry,
I
go ahead.
create this character, and for the next 10 levels, I'm doing the Agents of Yesterday. After I hit Lieutenant Commander, I have completed Agents of Yesterday. So now I have to take my new level 11 character and level them all the way up to 60 if I want to start using tier 6 and all that stuff. What gets me is that my character went from an agent of yesterday from the 23rd century now to a Delta recruit. He became a Delta recruit automatically on the last mission. We already did the Delta recruit, last year when that came out? And now they're like, create a brand. Well, why would I create a new character when, and then they pepper in these missions, between the normal missions that everybody has to grind through to get up to level 60. So I just took my level 60 character and I did the remaining missions. And they were boring. And check this out. They were not Star Trek. It's what I've always said. The mission was this. Go here, pew pew. Go there, pew pew. Go here, pew pew pew. Click that. Go here, pew pew pew. Click this again. Pew pew pew. Click that. Go up to space. Oh no, pew pew pew. And then talk to the guy and then report back to Admiral Garrett. That was a consistent theme through this Agents of Yesterday. To me, it was a cop-out. And now you got people paying $130 for a bunch of these ships that I guarantee you, I promise you, that they're only going to use just once.
Well, they're going to use them the way that I understand it, because I haven't gotten to the end of this expansion. That's not true that they won't use them again because they can repeat.
Trust me, they're not going to use them again.
Right.
Unless they create a brand new character from level 0 to level 60.
What I mean to say is they can from what I was told, they create that storyline with the temporal recruitment so that you can bring these characters from the past into these other,
All right, well, let me put it in another way. To all the people that are listening to this podcast, how many of you are still using the same ships from the Delta Rising expansion? How many of you are still using those?
I will.
And we paid $130 for those. No one's using those ships. The one that looks like a sperm head. The one that looks like a fingernail. Right? And then that stupid-ass Krispy Kreme's science ship. Nobody's using those things. I don't even see them in game.
I won't spend a dime. There's no need to, in my opinion, because I'm a little bit different. I haven't been playing the game since a year from now. Last summer, because I was homeless. I didn't have it wasn't my fault, obviously, and I got back into the game it's funny too because the name of the game is Agents of Yesterday. I literally got back into Star Trek Online yesterday, and it was the first time in a year. And I created a TOS character and her crew. Okay, so the last time I actually played STO was when Delta Rising first started, because that's when I became evicted. So it wasn't my fault. But that being said, like you just said, Anthony, how many people are doing whatever? I left off with the updated Galaxy X with the fighters from the hangar that they upgraded, and I don't actually plan on upgrading. I don't want to. I've noticed that every time they make us feel, unless you're doing PvP, unless it's PvP, you don't need to get the better ships. They don't matter. You can still win because the game's not hard. If you play
even if it is PvP, you don't need to get the better ships. It's your loadout as opposed to the actual ship.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Because the thing I've noticed is that I love Star Wars: The Old Republic, like Michael before he left was talking about, and we'll talk about that some other show, because I feel like when I play that game, my character and the way he or she develops, it feels more real. When I play Star Trek Online, I feel like I'm going through motions, and if I go through a mission, it's more, and I'm a Foundry author. That's what led to me creating Starfinder. I took a lot of my ideas from my Foundry missions and put them into Star Trek Starfinder to create my show. But I'm going to say this, and I have devs that are friends of mine. Some of them you guys know, Jesse Heinig, who plays Commissioner Gordon on my show Bat Radio, good friend. He's also been in Starfinder, so it's like I know these guys, and Adrian, who's voiced stuff. I love Star Trek Online as far as the passion, as far as their intentions. I've been there since 2009. I was a friend of Subspace Radio before I became a head writer for them. But then we created Starfinder, and I'm very passionate about the game itself and the intention. But that being said, when you compare it to other games like Tor and other games, I went back into the game yesterday, and I was excited. I made my character. My intention was that she was going to be the TOS version of the Starfinder era crew from that time. And I went into the game. She went through her first few missions, and all it was, I could have made a better Foundry mission. I'm sorry, but it's true. I'm walking along. Let's go over to this glowy thing. Click. It's telling me that I'm doing all this stuff with the, rearranging circuits and all this other crap. Oh, let's stop the weapons from going overloading, or the Klingons are going to do this, or whatever. Oh, let's shut the shuttle bay, whatever. I didn't actually do anything. I made my character walk. I clicked something, and as soon as I clicked it, we saw the little bar that showed progress, and it said, "Congratulations, you did whatever." And then I shoot some people, and then I go into space. And although the graphics were cool, I had a cool ship. I shot some Klingons, I shot some Romulans, I shot some Gorn. I could sit there and not actually read the text, and there's actually nothing going on. Okay? Now, I was told by a lot of people to give it some time, give it some patience, and the game will get better. I'm on the third mission.
Give what time and give what patience? Because I'm going to interrupt you here, because, when I was playing this stupid game, I'm sorry, I'm angry. Because I had higher hopes for this Agents of Yesterday. And again, I've been failed. But when you got them... Alright, so when I became a lieutenant commander, in walks Spock, right?
Right, yeah.
And it was sound bites. They were sound bites.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, he is dead.
Yeah, I understand he's dead, but why did they have him walk in with sound bites? To me, that's laziness.
Yeah.
That's cheesy. It's lazy, and all it is a money grab. It's a freaking money grab. And what about the new ship? I like the new ship. I want the new ship. But George, what did you tell me before the show about the new Kelvinverse Starship Enterprise?
Now let me preface this by saying that this doesn't mean I dislike the game. But when it comes to the C store, I know that Cryptic doesn't have a lot of control over. This is the Perfect World that are making them do this. So you guys got to remember this. Cryptic didn't invent the lockbox model, and they didn't. It's Perfect World when they took over from Atari. Remember, before this, Atari was in charge of Cryptic, and they were the ones. Perfect World when they took over had a model they had been doing over in the Asian areas where they dictated how you were going to do this with the lockboxes and so forth. So this was not Cryptic deciding, hey guys, screw all of you, we're going to do it this way. They don't have a choice. These are their bosses. So I give them that bit of slack because it's not their fault. If Cryptic had a choice, I'm sure that Captain Gecko and everybody in charge would say something different. But their Perfect World bosses, obviously have more control.
Then it's not Cryptic, it's Perfect World.
Oh, so... Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I mean, Perfect World, this is what these Chinese companies does.
Yeah.
They put out these cheap, crappy products, and they expect, because they have a loyal fan base, to keep on spewing. That's why I stopped playing this game 2 friggin' years ago.
It seems though this...
I don't download this crap anymore. I'm not paying money for ships that you don't use 2 weeks after they come out. Okay. What's the friggin' point?
But you don't have to. Okay, so I'm going to counter this a little bit. You don't have to. You can still enjoy.
You don't have to what, George?
You don't have to pay money.
For what?
for anything to actually play the game.
But don't you want that new Kelvin Universe ship, the Enterprise? So how are you going to get that if you're not going to pay money?
Well, hold on. Let me go. You're right. Let me go back to that part. So I made a little bit of a rant on Facebook, and I'll be honest, I was a little pissed off. I hadn't played the game in a year, and I was a big supporter of Star Trek Online, and Starfinder is hugely, as an audio drama, based off Star Trek Online. You know, it's in the Star Trek Online universe. That's actually the biggest difference between our audio show versus the other ones. Ours is in the STO universe, whereas the other ones are in the regular, not even looking at Star Trek Online as a thing universe, and that's the difference. If I have to be honest. So when I played, in fact, they put Starfinder, as you know, Anthony, in the game. It's in the final mission, Midnight, for the Iconia War. Our ship is in there, and that was a big nod, and I was very happy about that. So I will always be grateful to Cryptic for recognizing and doing things like that. Like I said, that's Cryptic, the devs from Cryptic. But what Perfect World does that pisses me off is, and this is just constructive criticism and also a little bit of being pissed off, is I wanted to play... people hate the JJ storyline going on with the whole movie thing. But I'll be honest with you, I like the design of the JJ Connie. I like the Vengeance. I like, even though some people may hate and go on a spew about how the JJ thing ruined Star Trek, whatever your opinion is, that
the JJ thing did not ruin Star Trek.
It didn't ruin it, but I'm just saying that the ships, the designs are cool. I mean, if people have a problem with me saying that, go to hell. Because they are. They're cool. I'm sorry, they are. The JJ Connie looks cool. The Vengeance looks cool. Whether or not the reasons behind them being there is, okay with the fans doesn't matter. I wanted to have those ships to play because they made it seem like if I jump into the game again, I can go on the C-Store and buy it. So the second the game, this expansion comes out, I just got paid on Wednesday, and I wanted to buy. I had money. I was ready to spend money.
Why are you wasting your money?
Wait. Let me finish well. I couldn't. This is the part that's really effed up, okay? I went in there going, I want to buy the JJ ship. And guess what? I couldn't. I had my credit card waving in their face. Hey, can I spend money and buy that ship? Nope. You have to gamble. You have to spend money on keys randomly on these lock boxes and take a chance and gamble that you might win the ship that you were going to pay money for.
Which is what, half of 1% of a chance that you'll win. And this is what gets me. Which is why that old article is recirculating on how Cryptic is ripping people off.
Radio,
yeah. But see, people are like, their biggest thing is, well, you don't have to put money into it. Well, if you want the ship, you're going to have to. So basically it is, I want the Kelvin Enterprise ship. However, Cryptic is telling me, and I'm not going to distinguish between Cryptic and Perfect World, okay? And the reason why, I'm not in the staff meeting, so I don't know who's saying what.
Right.
As a consumer, it's all Cryptic. So Cryptic is telling me, you're going to have to gamble to get the ship. I don't want to gamble. I'm not a gambler. I want the ship. Well, you got to gamble to get it. That's what they're basically saying. If you want the ship, you're going to have to throw us a lot of money in order to get it.
Or you can do that grinding where you got to get the dilithium and crap, right?
Well, okay, here's the other issue.
I mean, you got to spend hours and hours and days and years and years just sitting there mining something to get this money so you can then buy the box that has, or buy the ship on the
for 600 million EC.
I wish Sunsia was here. I wish Sunsia was here right now, because she says to me in the PM, "What's the big deal? It's only 600 million if it goes on the exchange." And I wish that we were face to face. I would have said to her, "Do you realize that I haven't been able to play the game for a year? My main character, George Kane, has at the most, as far as I remember, maybe 500,000 credits. Okay, I haven't played the game in almost a year. Actually, no, it's been over a year. And all these other people, to them, 600 million, that's nothing. So Cryptic's counting on that. It's not a big deal. So you can either do this, or you can wait a little while. You can go on the exchange and buy somebody will put the JJ Con if they won on the exchange for like they'll bid it for like 600 million, and like that's a big deal. I can't even slightly compete as a consumer if I want that ship under that mindset. Okay, and Son's like, oh, I could buy it like tomorrow if it came on the exchange. Well, that's nice that you're a dedicated player that you play, and I'm not ragging on anybody, but I'm just saying, if you have that kind of time, and this goes back to why free-to-play's always been controversial, if you have that kind of time, you can go on the game, and over the course of this year, have 600 million be nothing to you, then this is exactly the problem. This is the problem for people who want to come back to the game or want to come into the game as new players. That they're overwhelmed by is that I can't compete. Okay, so then I have people like our good friend Terry Lynn from GNT who's like, George, I will, because I was ranting on Facebook about this. She's like, George, I will send you a JJ Connie if I win it. I have no doubt that she will, and I've had 3 other people tell me that. But that's not the point. I shouldn't have to be in this position. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to be in the position where I have to worry, or I have to spend, or get people to say, who have been playing the game, I will help you out. I think the game should be like Tor, where if you have money and you want to say, I want to spend it, that's a free-to-play game. If you have money and you're willing to spend it, fine. Now, some people used to argue that with free-to-play, that model, if you have money, you can make up for not having the time to spend playing the game, like some of the dedicated players, and get what you want. But I couldn't get what I want. I couldn't. I have to gamble. So that's the issue that I have with the model that they're doing. I love the game itself. I've been there since 2009 when the game started. I'm a dedicated player. Starfighter is a tribute to Stowe. I will always support Cryptic and the vision that started. And Dan Stahl, even though he's gone as the head producer, I have nothing but the most respect for him.
But why? Why are you giving your kudos to a company that doesn't give a crap about you anymore?
Because I'm kudoing the people involved.
Fine, you did it. You played the game for 5, 6, 7 years. Move on. Play something else.
And I have. That's the thing. I want to go back. That's my issue.
I don't. I was a Star Trek fan. I bought the game in beta. I bought the lifetime subscription. So I spent $250 on that lifetime subscription. I played it for 5, 6 years. 5 years.
You should be getting the most perks then.
But I don't give a crap. I mean, it's 500 per whatever month. It takes forever to accumulate that kind of wealth. It's ridiculous.
Excalibur, you've been kind of sitting back. What do you think?
Well, as far as like the 500 million EC and whatnot, like I've been slowly accumulating money towards going for a anoraks, which are sort of on again, off again in terms of sales, and it's not so much time as it is how much research you actually do into making money, because you can make a crap ton of money if you go into the right markets at the right time.
Right.
I'm not going to go into detail because I don't want to tell everybody how to make money, but suffice it to say there are ways that you can make huge sums of cash in very short spaces of time just by being smart.
But how much time do you, as a player, do you have to invest? If you let's just say someone has. And I'm not making fun of anybody in Star Trek Online because hey, you know what? If I had the time, I would play. Let me just ask you this: if somebody has a limited amount of time and they want to quickly figure out how they can, to do this without being ridiculous as far as how much player time they have to do, what would you say is the minimum amount of time you have to invest as a player to achieve that kind of a success?
Probably about half an hour to an hour a day.
That's not bad. That's not bad. But I mean, like I said, I was in a position where I couldn't play for a year because I was in a situation where I didn't have access to a computer. I was homeless. Stuff happened. Blah blah blah. I got back on my feet, and I'm back, and I want to get back into the game. So from my point of view, this is the problem. It's like I've been there since the beginning, and my account has accumulated all the perks and rewards for being there, but I couldn't make the money because I wasn't there. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So this is where my personal issue with it, you know. And Anthony, you voiced your opinion. Will, you voiced your opinion. Okay, so we've talked about how we don't like the system for them doing the C-store for that, you know, for that situation. Will, have you at all played the new expansion?
Not at all. In fact, I'm trying to log back in just to see, but no, I haven't. I had stopped playing this thing 2 years ago.
All right, and Excalibur.
But the thing, when they came out with the lock boxes,
yeah,
you know, and like you say, you have to gamble to get it, and you can't keep up, especially if you want to play PvP or, you know, getting those end game raids where you need the equipment to load out your ship. You can take whatever ship you like. It's the loadout. So you need those little modules they're going to have for the ship, which means you got to have the things from the lock boxes, which sucks.
Well, okay. Yep, that's fair. Now, Excalibur, what I should have asked you is, other than that opinion that I just asked you about earlier, in the new expansion, what is your opinion of the, you know, Agents of Yesterday, sorry.
It's definitely pandering to the we love TOS crowd. We want to play our Tier 6 Connie crowd. Like, it's kind of clear that there was a lot of draw from a lot of original episodes that they wanted to sort of insert people into it, but it was very short and it was very cheap. And I have to agree with that whole Spock turning up with the whole long-winded speech. I was like, he's dead? This isn't recorded. Like, I remember hearing this back in the day when I first got out into sector space and I entered into a sector block, and like Leonard Nimoy's voice was giving me a nice little detail about what was going on as I arrived, and like it felt awkward and wrong having Leonard Nimoy, a previously recorded voice clip being reused. And it was just like, okay, well, thanks, Leonard Nimoy. That's great. Let's just have you randomly walk into the room and go into a big speech about something.
We might as well have Anton Yelchin do the same thing.
Well, I agree. They should have gotten. They've already had him on the on the game, anyways. Have Zachary Quinto record some new dialogue, right? So, I mean, I guess I understand where they were going for with the whole nostalgia thing, right? But yeah, you could tell it was it was all rips from prior episodes, and that felt very artificial.
Right. And go ahead, Excalibur. Finish what you were saying because I interrupted you.
Oh, it was really cheap and tacky and out of place and very long-winded. I started, like, just alt-tabbing and waiting for it to finish because it was just too long. It didn't make any sense whatsoever to have Leonard Nimoy just walk in and give us this wonderful wisdom.
Do you guys think that it's possible that the timing of when Beyond was coming out and the 50th anniversary of Star Trek coming out, that Cryptic prematurely released this without being ready?
No.
They could have waited another 2 years and it still would have came up with the same stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
George, they just want the people to spend money on those boxes. That's what this game is about now. It is all about those boxes.
I know that.
It's the microtransactions.
Okay, so I agree with you guys as far as, honestly, I do think it's Perfect World's input into this. I know I'm not trying to be a fanboy of Cryptic. I'm just saying that having gotten to know some of the devs, I honestly think that their hands are tied when they get the upper echelon of people telling them, in this case, Perfect World, this is how we're going to do it. And they're like, they have to go on podcasts, and they have, like, for example, if we had Gecko on there here right now, he would say something that would spin it into a different, you know, he would have to say what he has to say because that's his job. Any of them, because Perfect World dictates the whole lockbox thing. And I believe I believe wholeheartedly that if it were up to them, maybe they would do things a little bit differently. Now, I know that doesn't mean the game is, should be, that people should pay anyways, just because it's not their fault. But what I will say is this. Terry Lynn from GNT made a good point. You don't need a better ship. You don't need this. You don't need that. You can have an older ship. I actually put this to the test one time. I took an older ship from like 3 tiers below, and I went into a mission that was 3 tiers above, and I still beat it. I had a rougher time. But the truth is that the way that the game's mechanics work, you don't actually have to keep up and buy the latest ships.
But what about the end product? What about the end raids?
If I
What
went
end
in,
raids?
dude,
Well, don't they have those things where you go to the Borg space and stuff anymore?
It doesn't matter though. The only people who get pissed off is the people who are in there with you. The pickup group, the pugs. Unless you do like a pre-planned group. So if I go in there right now and I use let's just say I use a TOS Connie from tier 3, right? And I'm like a level, I don't know, 52 admiral, vice admiral, whatever. If I go into a raid with you, I guarantee my being in there with the tier 3 ship isn't going to mean jack shit. It isn't going to actually make a difference as to the success of our mission. It's all semantics.
Let me ask you this. I mean,
This.
you guys have played Agents of Yesterday, right?
Yes.
And Anthony's just explained what it is. That you actually have to create another character
You start
to play
over
it.
in the but here, okay.
What is the point of that?
Okay,
Why would you have to? Why can't you take your original characters
You can.
and play them?
Okay, so with Agents of Yesterday, this is the thing I do compliment them on story writing wise. So Christine,
There's no story there, George, is what I said before. This Agents of Yesterday, first 10 chapters, you're this new guy in the 23rd century. You go here, pew pew, go there, pew pew, click that, pew pew, go here, pew pew, go back to your ship, talk to this guy, pew pew pew, save us, save us, save us, pew pew pew, go here, then you talk to Admiral Garrett. Alright, got a new mission for you. Go here, pew pew, go there, pew pew, click that, pew pew. That was a consistent theme of Agents of Yesterday.
but you can take your TOS character, and it gives you an excuse when you get recruited by Daniels to merge their timeline with the current one because of the way that the temporal agency recruits your TOS character into whether it's the future or the past, so that you're all like in the same sort of sheet of music. You know what I'm saying? Like once you get to a certain point, I haven't reached that point. I just know this from people telling me this. So like say my character is only on the 3rd mission. Okay, let's say when she gets to the end of it, like Anthony was saying, okay, I've gone through pew pew pew, whatever. On the plus side, I can take that character and get recruited into the bigger scheme, the temporal conflict, and get upgraded to where that character has a storyline reason to be with the other characters and do the same stuff, because they're all part of a temporal sort of a mixing bowl. You know what I mean? Because they got recruited from various timelines.
I think you're just trying to talk yourself into it, George.
That's what it sounds like to me.
You're just trying to talk
George,
yourself into it.
George, let me explain to you. If you've only done 3 missions in the game, let me help you out with something.
Right.
By the time you get to Lieutenant Commander, level 11, right, you're going to have to go another 9 levels before you play the next Agent of Yesterday's mission. And it's 1 mission. And then you're going to play a few more. No, listen. You're going to play a few more. Then you're going to do another 1 mission. Then you're going to play. You're going to go through the rest of the normal content, just like everything else, till you get to level 50. And you have 1 or 2 missions. Then you're going to play through another 10 levels till you get to level 60, and then you have 2 more missions. That's it. You could combine that up and run it all back to back, and by the time you're done, you're level 17. If you were to start at 0. Okay? So that's my biggest disappointment. See, ever since they came out with the Legacy of Romulus, that was a really awesome expansion. I give Cryptic high marks for that.
Yeah.
But ever since then, they have failed. Ever since the Legacy of Romulus, every expansion, Delta Rising, Agents of Yesterday, has consistently failed. And what it looks like to me, laziness. Now, stop. You can say that they don't have enough staff. You can say that they don't have enough in the budget. Okay, then maybe they shouldn't have released it. Or they should just say, hey, we got it. We're going to do a patch update. We're adding a couple new missions to what we already have. Something like that. So, hey, we're going to do Agents of Yesterday. Buy our ship pack for $130. If I'm going to throw down $130 for a ship, and you're forcing me to create a brand new character, I better have a brand new game.
You know, if I'm going to spend $130, it's, you know, that's equivalent to 2 games that you could buy, 60 and 60, right? Usually, most games that come out today are around $60.
Mm-hmm.
But you're spending 130. That's 2 games that you could buy, new, fresh, 2016, that you could play and get more enjoyment out of it than this.
Yeah. Go ahead, George.
I was just going to ask you. You're still in charge of Caspian Fleet, right?
I sure am.
Don't kick me, bro.
Why would I kick you? Everyone is entitled to their opinion.
No, I joined the fleet like a year ago, but I remember I've been gone for a while. I didn't know if you guys.
George, I'm not going to kick you. Knock it off.
All right. But anyways, what I was going to say was that, yeah, I mean, I understand what you guys are saying. I understand what you're saying. But here's my thing. Everything you're saying is, there's something to that, okay? But when I went in yesterday, and I was like, at first, I was pissed off about the whole C-Store JJ Connie thing, like we discussed earlier. So I actually created a Facebook post, and I'm pissed off about it. And I was a little embarrassed because it was almost like I was whining, is the way I looked at it on social media. So I go on the game and I'm building my character, and I'm playing through the first mission. Now here, let me give some. As much as I'm agreeing with you with everything we've said earlier, I will preface this with saying a few positives, because there are some. Okay, first of all, Vic Mignogna, who plays Captain Kirk on Star Trek Continues. He is the captain in the opening mission. I actually thought that was it made me feel kind of cool listening to his voice.
He's an actor. How does that enhance my gameplay is my question.
His voice, to me, that's your opinion, and I respect that. But for me, hearing his voice, I actually really enjoyed it. It made the game a little more enjoyable.
So
hey, I just logged into the game. Do you want to know how much how many Zen points I have right now?
Probably 2
how
million.
much?
I have 17,578.
Nice.
Is that a lot or that? I don't even.
That's a lot. 17,000?
17,578.
That's $170.
Really?
Yeah.
Buy me a Rysian bikini from my
I'm not
female
buying you
character.
anything, George. I'm not buying you anything.
All right.
Like I said, I haven't played this game. I had to update it.
Hey, son.
I even forgot my password. I had to go in and reset my password. They changed the damn skill tree again.
I know. Sunsail just joined us, and son, your timing is great because we were really beating to death the opinions of Agents of Yesterday. What's your opinion, son? If she can hear us, does she have?
Oh crap! Yeah, she should have.
No, she doesn't have soft powers.
She can't talk.
Hello, everybody.
There you
Hello,
go.
son. Son, what is
Thank
your
you.
opinion of Agents of Yesterday? We were just talking about that.
Well, apparently my problem is different from a lot of other people's problems.
That's okay. Go for it.
A lot of people are complaining, there's not enough content. There's not enough content. No! Okay. Do you guys realize what content is actually in Agents of Yesterday for a person starting off in the 23rd century during the TOS era is literally creating a second Midnight episode.
But the issue is why are they forcing us to create a brand new character for those that have been playing for the last 6-7 years?
Because cryptic logic is, it's the 50th.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. I don't need to create a new character.
Nobody said you had to.
But if I want to experience the agents of yesterday, I do.
Well, yeah, and you can do that at any time after the launch, even after this whole event thing is done with as well.
But why do you have to create a new character? If it's new content, you should be able to play with your old characters. Send them back in time.
Because it is built as a, hey, we wanted to add something to the game without creating a competing game at our own company using the same
I think
franchise.
they wanted to do the least amount of work for the most amount of profit, if you really want my opinion.
Honestly, if you talk to, which we're supposed to have Stephen Ricosa, the executive producer, tomorrow on Tribbles. Every dev that we've talked to, every single one of them, even Gecko, which is the lead game designer, said that they actually wanted to create almost its own separate game.
But they didn't do that. They just created 10 levels.
They forced themselves not to make a competing game under their own same company using the same IP. It's like going out and creating Dungeons and Dragons online and then creating Neverwinter.
Well, they're creating the console version, which is a brand new game. Is competing to what they have.
It's not a brand new game.
It's the same game. It's just a different way to play it.
It is a UI change of the other game.
Yeah, you can.
I'm only speaking as a consumer. I'm only speaking as a consumer. I felt I created a new character. I played the levels. Within about an hour and 10 minutes, I was done. And then in walks Leonard Nimoy with some sound bites. And then, I'm a Delta agent now. To me, that was lacking in all respects.
I agree. But my problem is that the content, the story content, the end cap for that, knowing everything that my other characters know, is that the end cap for that plot line is quite literally a second episode of Midnight, in which instead of it being the Iconians versus the Romulans going to war with each other because of something that Sela does, it's actually going to be the Tholians creating the problem in the first place that creates the Nakul, which actually go back in time and then blow up a Tholian convoy.
Now, is this a temporal situation?
I tell everybody on Tribbles, messing with time, temporal mechanics is a seventh dimensional problem. Because there are variables you cannot account for, and nobody seems to listen. Because this is the same story we've seen, it's just chalked up to two different factions.
Interesting. Yeah, so, son, the first half of the show, we had Michael Hinman here. We talked about the Sulu news that dropped today. The Star Trek Online's news, not news, but we've all played, well, everybody but Will has played the new expansion, but Will has invested a lot in Star Trek Online. Me and Anthony have played the new expansion. I haven't finished the storyline yet. I'm on, like, the third mission. My opinion is, I'm having fun.
You'll get there. You'll understand what I'm talking about when you get there.
I have heard, though, that
you'll get there.
It ties into where you get recruited, and so they tie in the whole, reason for your characters from the TOS time to join the whole mix of everything. Yeah. I thought, story-wise, as far as the writing department, whether it's Christine or somebody else, I think
Christine's not at Cryptic anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, whoever's in charge of writing, I think that writing-wise, as far as that part goes, they did an interesting job of finding an excuse to blend everything. I applaud them for that. Very creative. But when I played the game, so far, I'm only on the third mission. It just feels like walking along, clicking a glowy thing.
So you've not have you met the temporal agent officially yet?
No, I'm on the mission. Okay, so the last mission I did was the one where I go and do the whole Gorn recreation with the cannon, and we do all that.
Okay, wait a minute. Have you been paying attention to the little side pictures that come in that give you the information?
That, but I haven't done anything with that information.
Yeah. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, when the little character pops up and there's text, and then the guy is speaking, I kept looking in that and going, I know who that is. It may say he's a different character, but I already know who that is, and I already know what that story is going to be with him. Yes.
So if I click on that, will I get missions for the temporal thing?
No. He pops up during the mission to give you mission critical information. That's it. That's what that stuff has always done. You know, you've got that little fly-in that comes in on the left that says, "Hey, you know, they're attacking the starbase or whatever," and then it flies out.
Well, I saw the thing about the temporal stuff, but I thought that was like more like you know, the PvP type stuff.
You won't touch any of the temporal recruitment anything until after you have caught up with everybody else in the timeline.
Okay. So, like I said, Mike and everybody else has told me to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony has a different opinion because he's been through the whole, what you call 45 minutes of content, right, Anthony?
Yep.
Well, you do realize there are actually, and I'm not.
I've already done the higher level stuff. I've already done the higher level stuff.
No, not talking about that. And I'm not defending Cryptic one iota because I think it's kind of shitty in the first place. But there are go-back missions now scattered throughout the different arcs. There are new missions scattered throughout the other arcs now.
So
yeah, and I've done those. I explained it to George. So after you get a level, 11 Lieutenant Commander, you go another 9 levels, and then you do another Agents of Yesterday mission. Then you go a couple more levels, and you do another 2 Agents of Yesterday missions. Then you get up to level 50, then you get up to level 60, and you have 2 Agents of Yesterday missions. I already explained that.
You've done all of this already?
Yeah.
Jesus, holy crap!
Yeah.
No.
I'm a gamer.
45 minutes of content.
I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer.
How much time do you have time?
Give me a mouse and I'll play her.
That's not
Playing my
45 minutes of
games in
content.
the sun.
That's not 45 minutes of content.
Well, it took me
You know why
45
that's not
minutes.
45 You know why that's not 45 minutes of content? Because even if
I love how
you
she
were
can tell
playing
me it
that
didn't
fast,
take me that.
I have
It
one
didn't take me
bridge
that
officer.
long.
Guys, I have one bridge
If you
officer.
were playing it that fast, that means you had to have been paying zero fucking attention to what was going on.
I have one bridge officer, and I'm like listening to him go. I did the whole thing, and I'm like, I'm on the 3rd mission. I have one bridge officer. It's I'm sorry, 2. I have the Andorian, and I have the Tellarite. That's it.
It took me 4 hours to get through the first couple of missions.
Well, I'm sorry you have slow internet.
No, it's not the
I
internet.
didn't say anything about slow internet. I was actually paying attention to what was fucking going on, Mr. Black Magnum. Mr. I F through all the content.
I spent a lot of time going
Okay.
Okay.
Go here, pew pew. Go there, pew pew. Click on this, pew pew pew. Click on that, pew pew pew. Oh wait, while I fix this, pew pew.
But
Pew
I have
pew
to
pew
admit,
pew.
I have to admit, I did spend a lot of time in the tailor making sure that my character's skirt looked sexy.
I didn't because it was
Oh,
all
Lord have
29th
mercy.
century stuff. There was nothing there for me, so it's like, yeah, no, okay, bye.
Well,
You know what got me about the game though is before it was released, people were like, I wonder if they're going to allow us to create a Talaxian 23rd century
Nope.
creature.
Yeah, okay.
I wonder if they're going to allow us to create a Borg,
Nope.
creature. I'm like, this is the 23rd century.
The only thing people should have been able to create that isn't there is occasion.
yeah, because I have the unlock for that because I bought it.
And they didn't even offer that, so.
And they should because it's TAS.
Yeah, this takes place during the animated series timeline.
That
essentially.
pisses me off because I'm sure they'll fix it. I'm sure. I mean, I have a little...
This release should piss a lot of people off instead of those that are saying, "Awesome game! Shut up and take my money. Shut up and take my kid. Shut up and take my social security
College
card."
fund.
Whatever.
They take my virginity too.
Yeah, exactly.
They should be introducing the race that the dude was from TS with the 3 arms, whatever his name was.
Andrews?
No, not Andrews.
God, Eric's, that's it.
Eric's. They should be, if Stowe was smart, because he's technically canon, they should be throwing him in there because besides Morella, or whatever her name is, Maris. They should be introducing him because he was, like her, they introduced her in TAS, he was there. Why not introduce his
Maurice
race?
was there. Phoracians are based on the slaver race, or the cat people that show up for the slaver race
Phoracians
episode.
are based off that other race's name. They changed the name. I forget them now. But yeah, I know what you're saying. But I mean, the point is that Eric's race should be part of Stowe too. You know. Now I will say this: Dan Stoll did say several years ago. So I'm going to give some credit to STO a little bit. I remember an interview with Dan Stoll on Subspace Radio. Gonna shout them out. Hey guys, they did talk to Dan Stoll, and he was saying our goal, and this was it was in between 2009 and Into Darkness, and they said our goal is to have all of Star Trek be part of Star Trek Online, including the JJ. Of course, they didn't call it the Kelvin universe back then, or timeline, or whatever. They said,
"Look, you can still call it the JJ verse."
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna, and I will. I will. Believe me, I will. But they were saying we intend to have, as far as they're trying to petition CBS to get. So it's the same thing that goes through.
They could. Well, that wouldn't have worked in the first place. You don't go to CBS and say,
they
"Hey,
have
I want
to.
stuff."
No, they
can't. They can't. You don't go to CBS and say, "Hey, I want stuff from Paramount." You have to go to Paramount to say, "Hey, I'd like your stuff."
But CBS talks to Paramount, and Stowe talks to CBS. It goes kind of three-way.
No, they have contacts with each other.
Right.
They don't have discussions. The only time they have discussions is when they're in a legal suit.
Okay, well, but that's what I meant. Star Trek Online. You do have a good point, son. What I mean is, but everything I've ever heard from Brandon back when he was my contact for certain things.
Well, okay, we can talk about Brandon, Brand Flakes.
All I'm saying is that they always mention CBS.
Wait a minute. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
We can talk about Brand Flakes' contacts and all that kind of stuff till Kingdom Come. Last Friday, Al Rivera was on Tribbles, and he quite directly said, yeah, so we called CBS and say, hey, can you put us in touch with somebody from Paramount? CBS went, oh, okay, and got in touch with Paramount, and they went, hey, we would like to use stuff from the films. And they go, okay, but you can't use anything from the new movie, just the last two. And they went, okay, so that's how the Kelvin Timeline box came to be.
Okay, all you did was reiterate what I was about to say, but that's fine. I'm just saying. What I'm trying to say is, though, that Stowe's contact, their official Star Trek connection, is through CBS. Where it goes from there is, obviously, they have somebody from Paramount, like you said. And so then it gets, they always, like Dan Stahl said, he always wanted JJ Trek. Dan Stahl said in an interview, I don't even remember who it was with, I think it was Subspace Radio, and he said, I want our goal is to have all of Star Trek, no matter what iteration it is, to be part of Stowe.
And that's why Dan Stahl no longer works at Star Trek Online.
That's not why. That's not why. Come on.
I don't know. We have Steve Ricosa on tomorrow, and I have to ask him.
Are you talking about Tribbles?
Yes.
All right.
And I have to ask him my first personal question, flat out. Did you guys call Dan Stahl and say, hey, can you come back and do Datan for this mission we're about to do? Because that's all new Datan voice in the cool diplomat mission thing.
I just got back into Stowe literally as of yesterday with the new expansion. I haven't actually jumped into the modern time again with my regular character, but even if I do, I'm stuck on the mission with Delta Horizon, so I'm way behind. So I guess I have a long ways to go to see that mission. I actually was surprised that I could jump into Agents of Yesterday without the update making me update the Iconium War. It was weird. So let me ask you.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because Agents of Yesterday is a level 1 experience.
Right, but if I want to play the Iconium War, it seems to me like I don't have to re-download anything or patch-wise.
Well, no, you're not going to have to go back and play any of that stuff because you
Not
are
play,
already
I'm
leveled.
talking about downloading the patch.
Why?
Well, that's what I mean. I want to play it eventually, but it just let me play Agents of Yesterday with a 5 gigabyte update without making me go through the whole what I felt was going to be a long, drawn out update because I haven't played since Delta Rising.
They're only adding the new content. See, here's the thing. They only added, if you weren't pre-patching, about 5 gigs worth of information. And that is updating back-end systems and the new content. When Legacy of Romulus came out, it was somewhere closer to 7 or 8 gigs of content.
All right. Well, listen, guys.
Now, from that argument alone, it can be made, yes, Anthony, that there isn't enough content there. Still, my problem has fuck all to do with the content because the content exists as the game as a whole. My problem is the storyline is Midnight version 0.1.
Okay.
It is the prequel to Midnight. It is Midnight before Midnight existed.
So it's like Dawn.
Right.
No. That's not Dawn. That would be after Midnight. Never mind that example. Anyways, yeah, so this is interesting. So, final thoughts on the Agents of Yesterday expansion. I will start with you, Anthony.
Hated it.
Okay, Excalibur.
Meh.
Meh? Okay. Son? Sorry, Will? Oh, you haven't played it. Sorry, Son?
I'm sorry, the story is a rehash.
Alright. I have so much I want to say, but I will say this. And I'm not saying this to be politically correct. Okay?
Yes, you are.
No. I partially am. But yes, I did mention that to you yesterday. But the thing is this. Star Trek Online, it has inspired me to create Starfinder, okay? And that's not the only reason I'm going to be a little bit nice with what I'm about to say. I haven't finished the content, so it would be unfair for me to judge it prematurely. Now, that being said, I have had social media outrages, as you guys have seen on Facebook, where I flipped out about the JJ Connie and all that stuff, about the whole store situation. That is, in my opinion, a perfect world situation. That's not cryptic.
It's all cryptic as far as I'm concerned. I wasn't there in a staff meeting. I don't know who said what.
And I get you there. I just feel, honestly, that's a perfect world template. That's the way they roll. And that if Cryptic had a voice, they wouldn't, be quite the way it is. But I enjoy the game as far as the story. The game mechanics need to take a lesson from Star Wars The Old Republic. Michael Hinman mentioned earlier, if we want to talk Star Wars The Old Republic sometime, bring him on, because he loves that game, and so do I. And so do you, Anthony, and I believe you do. You also, son, don't you? Play Star Wars?
Well, I've played. I kind of stopped after the, hey, you have to subscribe now to get all the new content. You can't just, buy a big, huge expansion thing. But see, the thing is okay, so Super Geeks, we can talk about any of these shows. We're not a exclusive Star Trek Online show, podcast, whatever. But what I'm trying to say is that as far as Star Trek Online as a game goes, I think that it would be nice. They've really tried. I've seen some major improvements, especially in the featured episodes. I remember not just that, they've really, really picked up a ball and started to run with it as far as effects go, too.
Yes! I remember when the 2800 episode came out, which actually inspired a lot of the first episode of Starfinder. We actually took that episode and rolled off of that for introducing our Jemadar and Allura, the Vorta, for why she's on the ship, because of the events of
you want your station back!
Yeah. I mean, but seriously, that was a great featured episode. They did a good job. And so, when they really try, they do a great job. It's these little things that get annoying. But anyways, there's always reasons to nitpick. Star Wars The Old Republic is, in my opinion, one of the best examples for setting your bar for an MMO. Mm-hmm. Star Trek Online has been around since 2009. It's a good game. It has a loyal, passionate fan base behind it. Obviously, CBS and Paramount have given them renewed their license, so they're not pissing them off in any way.
Right.
So there's something there, and I think there's always room for improvement. They're trying, and I've made Foundry missions. The Foundry itself, as a player-generated, user-generated content, that when I was in school for 3D back in 2010, I remember I got an A on my a B, because they only go to up to an A as their highest thing in my school for a project, because I showed my teacher, hey, I made this mission on Star Trek Online, and the teacher was like, oh really? And I showed him how they use user generated content, and he actually allowed that to be used as a credible thing for school, for college, for 3D media. So that just goes to show that as Star Trek Online was inventing the wheel, as far as, or not reinventing the wheel, because the City of Heroes did it before them, same company though, they were trying to show progress, and my school acknowledged that, and it actually helped me. So what I'm trying to say is that Star Trek Online they're always trying to do something new and improve things. Their hands are held back a little bit by the corporate.
Okay, George.
Go ahead.
Shoot, we know what you're trying to say, and I can say it a whole lot faster.
Go ahead.
Cryptic is Nintendo.
All right. I'll take your word that that's a good thing.
It is both a good and a bad thing at times.
All right. As you know, I'm not a big Nintendo
everybody
fan.
dogs Nintendo because they're always behind graphics-wise, but Nintendo is always out there reinventing crap. Otherwise, we wouldn't have motion controls on Xbox or the PlayStation because nobody would be looking for it.
I'm going to say this: the intention is in my opinion, they do care. So whether they deliver, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just came back after a year, and we'll see what happens in the future, guys. I want to thank you for joining us. We've been almost at 2 hours now, so I mean, seriously, there's a lot we can say. I want to thank you for joining us, Son. Thank you for joining us a little bit late. Excalibur, thank you for voicing your opinion, and everybody. And anybody have any final words before I call it?
Captain Kirk can defeat Batman.
Kirk can kiss my ass. All right, you guys, thank you for joining us. I want to call it tonight, but interesting discussion, and we will talk to you next time.